What's up, everybody? This is The Run with Manny Wilson. Today, I am here with a good friend of mine, Bradley Clark.
Yes.
He knows his hoops, I guess. He's a great friend of mine. He plays a little ball himself, but he's not better than me. So we just going to jump straight into the topic. I'm glad he ignored that comment because that's a whole nother debate. But, okay, all right. So my topic today, man, is some of these NBA stars in the league, they are like crazy loyal to their hometown, or like they're crazy loyal to the team they got drafted to, and it's just like, when is enough loyalty to one team enough? Like,
that's a great question. I guess my biggest thing is you got to remember it's a business. So like, even if you go to the NBA, yeah, it's your dream to play professional basketball, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And when you're doing business, as you know, because you're a businessman, as you know yourself, but when you're doing business, you don't really show loyalty to someone who's never been loyal to you. You know what I mean? So like, if you think about it, besides what Dwayne Wade and the Heat, they showed loyalty. There's only a few players in the NBA that actually got loyalty shown, from their organization. So like, from a business perspective, never think like, oh, they won't trade me. They won't get rid of me. They gonna give me the money I deserve. Cause at the end of the day, they looking at you like a stock. Like, you know what? Your stock is going down. What can I trade to get my money up? You know what I mean?
But sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes it's the players that's being so loyal to these GMs and like the coaches, and it's like, you're not winning. Like Anthony Davis, he is too good to be on the Pelicans right now. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. He is a player that I just don't understand why he would never leave.
If him and the organization was in a relationship, he'd be the perfect boyfriend right now.
No, you're right.
He ain't going nowhere.
Right. Like, it's I don't see why he wouldn't want to leave. I'd rather just go somewhere, and I understand that he wants to be loyal, which is cool. And I respect players who decide like, I want to bring a championship home. I want to bring a championship to this city that I'm playing in. That's good, but like, it's just like, when is enough enough? Because Anthony Davis, he's averaged a double-double ever since his rookie year. After his rookie year, he's averaged a double-double with 20-plus points.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And points and rebounds.
So
he plays like, man, when you watch him play, he plays the game like it's just too easy. Like, it's just too slow.
It looks like he's not trying.
Honestly,
but he puts 35 on your head.
And if you put him with other superstars on any other team, it could be, he'd have a much better chance of playing on a bigger stage somewhere in the playoffs and like, actually having a shot at the title run, because he never made it past the second round in the playoffs.
Right.
And the only star he's ever played with was DeMarcus Cousins, and he barely even got to play with him because
he was hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yep.
So he barely even got to play with him. But if he just could play with anybody else that was like a superstar, or
they could do damage.
Yeah, they could.
I guess to go back to your question, like, when is it enough? Like, when is it enough? I think that it's enough when you become a loser. Like, after so many, I'm seriously, after so many years, when you start losing, it's enough. It's like, treat it like a business decision. If your stock has been going down for 2 years straight, are you going to really try to hold on to it? Or you going to at least debate about, okay, maybe I should trade in this and get some Apple stock. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should go to the Warriors and invest in Google. Like for real, I'm telling you.
But see, sometimes when players wait until that time, when they've lost so long, then the time is up. They're old and beat down.
Talking about Carmelo?
You're right. It could be Carmelo in that case. You can use him as a good example, because we don't know how
he wasn't being loyal to the Knicks, though. He was being loyal to his pockets.
You're right.
So that's
true. That's
true.
But
when is it enough?
And I feel like
you become a loser.
See that difference between like Carmelo and like Kevin Durant. With Kevin Durant, I feel like he that came to his mind when he went to the Warriors. I feel like it was like, okay, look, I can stay here and I can keep trying to beat all of these teams that's stacking up, or I can just go and do what I love to do, which is play basketball. Because if you go to an open gym, or if you go to the court and you play basketball, so if you go to an open gym and you play for a court or play on a court, and someone on that team is or the whole team actually is like trash, and you're the only person playing, but you working your tail off trying to get 2 wins back to back so you can keep playing.
And then you still lose, and now you got to sit out 4 games because there's too many people. Right.
Exactly, but the game is much easier. It's much more fun when you're playing with people that's free, and when when you play with people who are good, and when you're on the road, like say if you're playing at the gym and you're on a high streak of like 7 games,
it becomes fun.
Yeah, I don't think you got that much win anymore. But but 7 games, like if you playing 7 games and people walk on the court and they're like, yeah, that team been on for the last 7 games. It's a bigger stage. People want to see like, oh, okay, well let me watch while I warm up. Let me watch while I put my sneakers on. And it's just
it's like I guess kind of going off of that. It's one of the reasons why I actually really like KD move the Warriors.
Of course you
because I mean, and it's not because I'm a Draymond fan or I like California.
Right, it's not because you're a bandwagon.
It's not because I'm a bandwagon. What it is because his decision to go was, I'm gonna find out a way to become a champion. I'm going to make my money regardless, so I'll stack up while becoming a champion. Instead of stacking up, just think, if you take the money he's making to OKC and his investments in LA and all that stuff, right? And you compare it to what he was going to make in OKC, let me flip it. When he was in Oklahoma, take the amount of money he would have now versus what he has now. What's the difference? What, a few million? Few million? Right, championships.
That's like even with Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is another one of those players. I think he came out with a statement and said he wants to be a Hornet for life. Or he said something about staying with the Hornets for a long time. And when I heard it, the first thing I thought of was just like, dude, nobody is on the Hornets. The best player he's played with that was any kind of superstar was Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard, to me, he has a lack of ability to compete.
He's never been a superstar.
Well, technically he has because he's been in All-Star games.
He's been an All-Star.
When he was younger, he was.
But he's never been a superstar.
I've never been a big fan.
You cannot be a superstar when you're not a jack of all trades. Name one superstar who couldn't do it all. Like superstar, where you like top of the crop. Because superstar, he was an All-Star. He was an All-Star.
Carmelo
superstars. You know who I think about when we talk about superstars?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna let you get to the next question because I know we got to keep it moving. When I say superstar, I think of Michael. I think of Kobe. I think of LeBron. I think of KD. I think of Dwayne Wade, Kyrie. Like
okay.
People who, when you put them on the court, they can play D, they can shoot. They can rebound. They can do whatever. And I know you about to bring up my man Steph Curry, but he's a superstar.
No, I agree. I agree with you in the first 4 names that you named: LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe. I see what you mean.
And the
superstars,
KD. I say KD too.
Yeah, KD. I agree with that because superstars are like they're bigger than all stars.
Yeah,
because they're just they're global.
Level.
They're global.
Right.
Like
exactly.
LeBron is global. LeBron is global.
Right.
Steph is getting
Ask me the last time Carmelo been global.
Since Syracuse.
No.
If that.
Oh, yeah. If that. You were back further than me. I was going to say Nuggets.
If that. But it's just, like,
you're all
good. But, like, even, like I said, Kemba, and then teams who aren't as bad as, like, the Hornets or as bad as the Pelicans, like, they're still getting to the playoffs, but they're not doing anything in the playoffs. Like Portland, they get to the playoffs. Wizards, they get to the playoffs, but they're not doing anything in the playoffs.
Right.
Like they go, especially Portland. I feel so bad for like Dame and McCollum because they're good. I like both of them, but it's just I don't know if it's the lack of bringing people in or what. I don't know what it is.
I'll give you an example. This is how I feel about them. I brought up the gym scenario, right? So when you playing at the gym. You on a whack team, right? You get so used to not passing the ball and doing everything yourself that when you actually have a little bit of talent that's next to you, you don't change the way you play.
Russell Westbrook. That's what I just heard. But no, you're right, though. You're right.
It's a little bit of that. Like, it's been such a 2-man show. And granted, they have some injuries and stuff like that, with other players. But it's been such a 2-man show that when they get further in the playoffs, and you start talking about going against, I'll even give OKC some credit, I guess. But when you talk about going against the top of the crop, like They shut those two down. I mean, they're great players. They're great players. But them two together is easier to stop than so-called when KD and Westbrook were together.
Yeah, and you know what? It's crazy that you say that, too, because, like I mentioned, Bradley Beal and John Wall and the Wizards, that's another two-pair. That's another two-pair who are very loyal. But, like, it's funny how you said, like, once those two players get shut down, because that's what LeBron would do. Whenever LeBron would play against them, it'd be, okay, we just either double team one and let the other one try his hardest.
And let John Wall shoot.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna, and that never got them a win when they played the Cavs or I don't think they played when Brown was in Miami, but I know they did when he was on the Cavs. But it was just like, you know,
it's hard. It's hard when it's a two-man show. It's hard,
and it's just like, you know, for me, I would much rather go to a different team and, you know, contribute to that team, whether my stats go down a little bit or whether they stay the same. I'd rather go there, play on a bigger stage. Brandon, you know, you're going to get more endorsements if you play on a bigger stage and, like, you're doing good. Like, look at Draymond Green. Draymond, he's the heart and soul of the Warriors, but he's not the player to average 40.
No,
he's not the player to average 40 or like the top scorer.
Doing braces.
Exactly. Hey. But like, I'd rather take a smaller role and go play with a better team where I can have more fun rather
winning.
than winning championships rather than just staying with the low market, playing on a smaller stage, getting good stats, but it's going unnoticed.
So so if we talk about some of the duos though, like people, so you said John Wall and Bradley Beal. Mm-hmm. Me personally, if I believe neither one of them has a reason to be loyal, because
you're right.
Like as an organization, from the very beginning when John Wall came in, they made him the star of the team because at the time he was the best. He was the best one on the team. Yeah. But in terms of money, it's not like he's getting a crazy contract where he's like, I can't leave.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't get anywhere in the playoffs. And like you said, partly it's because of the two-man show. If he improved his shooting, if he shot the three like Kemba, it will make him so much more dangerous. They wouldn't beat LeBron. They would have never beat LeBron. If he could just
score, if he could shoot like Kemba.
If he could shoot. But I looked up some stats. This is the thing. Me personally, I want Bradley Beal to go to L.A.
Oh, my God.
I want him to go to L.A. Come join LeBron.
You see this? The U.S. Warriors bandwagon, now LeBron went back. Well, I'll give you credit. You always been a Lakers fan.
I've always been a Lakers fan. It's just when it was going down the drain, I just went with the other California team. That's all that happened.
Oh, my goodness.
This stat I pulled up, okay, and this was interesting. And I know this doesn't have really to do much with the staying loyal. This is just talking about players and where I think that they should go in turn, like if they weren't loyal, where they should go. But John Wall, with him not being able to shoot the three, he needs to be in the area where
he can distribute.
Right. Like pretty much like how Rondo was. John Wall last season, he shot 37% from three. Okay? Lonzo Ball
I knew you was going
30%.
I knew you was going.
So he's not too far. And then I know people might listening to this might bring up Kobe, okay? Kobe shot 37% in his prime, right? But Kobe used to shoot like 40 of them a game.
Kobe did shoot a lot. And another thing, because you brought up John Wall and Lonzo, John Wall can shoot free throws. Lonzo Ball can't.
No, you're right.
He's a point guard.
I know. I'm just teasing, but my biggest thing is for John Wall, if he wants to win the championship, he has
improve.
He can improve himself, but I don't view John Wall as the person that's going to win me a championship by himself.
No.
There's only one player in the NBA that can do that.
And LeBron.
And that's LeBron. Nobody. KD go to a team by himself. He's not doing it.
I don't think he could. He could lead them. He could probably lead them to
conference
the
finals.
Or probably the finals. But
he's not taking it home like how LeBron will.
Hey, LeBron, man.
LeBron will shove the ball down your throat before he lose.
He does it all.
Granted, people going to bring up how he didn't do it this year. Obviously, you can't when you got 20 superstars on one team.
Well, that's a whole nother debate because this Warriors team is arguably the greatest team assembled.
Arguably.
Yes, I said it. Arguably the greatest team assembled in NBA history.
Right. So I know you're the host, but I got a question for you. Okay.
Okay. Give it.
All right. So if take Kemba's situation, all right. Take John Wall, Bradley Beals, Dames, all the people that we talked about. Take their situation. If they were not loyal, where could you see them fitting best, like in the NBA?
Okay, well, Kemba Walker, I could see him on a team where he needs help. Like, even if he doesn't go to a team like with a loaded team but like put him with Anthony Davis. Or like, just because I brought up Anthony Davis earlier, I'm just using that as an example.
Rondo's not there, so that'd be a great
you put Kemba there with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has help. Kemba has help. They got a big and a guard. They got that. So that would be perfect for him, and it will be a good thing that for him. That way he's able to score and he's able to still distribute because he has one teammate who can shoot. He can dribble. He's still athletic. He has a good big, but that's somewhere where I think he would need. But him playing with a whole bunch of nobodies on that Hornets team is just like ridiculous. Like, the best player on that Hornets team besides Kemba is, I think, Nicholas Batum. and nobody even talks about him.
They don't sell his jersey nowhere. He might not even have an NBA card.
You're right, but it's just it's just rough. I think, like, for the Wizards, this is the last thing, then we got to move on to the next topic. Yep. But like for the Wizards, they aren't as bad as Portland because they have good role players. They have good role players like Porter and the other guy who can shoot. I can't remember his name.
And it helps that John Wall and Bradley Beal are better defenders.
Yeah, it does. And they got Gortat, but it's just like them as a whole, they need more. They just need more.
Gore trash.
Oh, stop it. All right.
Gourmet trash.
So to move on with the next topic is switching over to the NFL.
Okay.
The defensive back for the Minnesota Vikings, Andrew Sendejo, he wore a hat to training camp that said "Make football violent again." Yep. And like I agree with him. Like, we should make football violent again, but remind you, during the season, he suffered a concussion it was an unexpected collision between players against the Saints. And it wasn't like a dirty shot or anything. It was literally I guess they were in the zone. I can't remember the play specifically, but he started to like just move over to an area like strafing or whatever it was called, or he was just moving on over to a zone, and the receiver was crossing and they collision, and he just got hit the wrong way. And the NFL took that harshly because it's like, oh, it's another concussion. It's a big concussion. Like, what's up? All these players are getting concussions, and we got to make the game safer. And for him to wear a hat saying "Make football violent again," I've always thought football was a violent sport, and that's what makes it entertaining, is seeing people get hit. Well, not by accident, of course, but like seeing people get hit in a way where it's regardless, you're gonna get hit in the game. And like, these guys lift weights. They train their whole life. They lift weights. They eat healthy. They build their muscles, and they play football. And they tackle each other. Like, how can you expect for the game to be like completely okay? Like, they might as well make the game flag football if they're making it where no one wants to get hurt. I mean, NFL players know what they're getting themselves into when they decide to play NFL.
But as an NFL, like, if you were an NFL owner, would you rather be and player? Would you rather the league be too careful or not careful at all?
Okay, now I could see where the league could be too careful, but I mean, they call targeting off of anything now. They throw so many flags, and like, I see the league getting softer and softer as the league progresses. Every time like they make a new hitting rule or anything, I see it getting softer and softer like every season. And it's just like at a point where, okay, can I even hit this guy? Like, are we playing touch, or can I hit this guy if he's running full speed? If you're running back and you're running full speed at me, like, can I even hit you with all my force? Because if I lay you out, or if you fall wrong and one of my teammates like tries to go for the ball and jumps on the ball, it's boom, he's ejected. Nope, dirty. Get him out of here. And it's like, wow.
Well, maybe if it wasn't necessarily like, they can always tone down the calls, but I still think, or maybe not the calls, they can tone down the ejections. that can be a separate thing. They can always tone that down. But in terms of the different flags that they might throw, if in fast motion it looked like a dirty hit, usually they're gonna call it as a dirty hit. But the reason why I disagree with the statement is because as a person, if you're the NFL owner, you want players in your league to be able to last longer. Yeah, you don't want to have to face, okay, this guy played for 10 years and now he has brain damage. You don't want him to, you don't want out of every 10 NFL player, 3 of them 20 years after playing have like a mental illness. So in not saying that it does, because I'm not sure what the statistic really is about how that is, and in head injuries. But I'm just saying that I think if I am the owner of the NFL, I would rather make sure I'm more safe than sorry. Because
I partially agree with that. Some of it I do agree with. I feel like some of the owners would want their players to be safe, and then again, some owners don't really care because they're like, we got a whole new set of college kids coming soon. So I feel like it goes both ways. But one point I do want to point out is that when this is a player who suffered a concussion, and the average span of like a college, say a running, or not college running back, say a NFL running back, is usually about 3 to 4 years. Mm-hmm. So that player knows what he's getting into. He knows that, he's going to get banged up. He probably has a short span, so, he want to collect his money and all that. That's a whole different conversation. But because a lot of things with new media and, back in the old days, there wasn't as much media, and, everybody wasn't reporting every single injury and, every single thing that might have happened. I think that made it so much worse. Mm-hmm. I think it made it so much worse because now it's almost like where reporters and everything, they hear everything that goes they hear everything that goes on in the locker room in terms of injury wise, and it's so easy for things like that to leak out. I think that's part of the reason why they took such a dramatic step on this concussion protocol, and in terms of players having and playing with concussions. I think that made a huge difference because they're like, well, now we have to make the game safe because people outside of our organization are hearing about the things that our players are going through. Right. They're hearing about.
So why go back to it though? If you purposely,
I don't think they have a choice. They don't have a choice. If they go back to it, they're gonna get more backlash on. You're just tearing NFL players apart.
Well, no,
they're gonna get more backlash from journalists.
But I'm saying making the game, what was this quote again?
Make football violent again.
Yeah, making the game violent on purpose, which can possibly create more injuries, which could possibly take you back to how it was, which would. Once again, history would just repeat itself.
But let me tell you.
Because then it's going to get bad.
I got an example.
Backlash, and then they're going to bring it back. And it's like, okay, we got to make it more safer.
I got an example. So when you watched Ray Lewis play, was it or was it not always entertaining? When you see him light someone up, it was always entertaining, right? It was always entertaining,
no, it wasn't,
right?
But it wasn't dirty hits.
It wasn't. Right. And a lot of hits, and some people may say some of the hits were dirty. Some people may argue okay, well, some of the hits that people would do during that time period were dirty. Right. And some hits now are still dirty that doesn't get caught. I mean, people get hit now and it's still uncalled.
But I think the quote should be, make football entertaining again by letting players be themselves. That's what made Ray Lewis so exciting. He came out the tunnel with turf in his hand, yelling. That's what made. And then when he got on the field, he was vocal. Nowadays, Marshawn Lynch grab his nuts in the end zone, and now people acting like NFL owners acting like the world ended.
Well, that's a whole other problem too. Is the big gap.
I think that instead of making it violent again, just let players be themselves. That way, like I said, I don't think that Ray Lewis's hit were dirty. He used to wrap up, and sometimes you would get a big bang. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, it was highlights of him running his mouth. Shoving and stuff doesn't matter. All that stuff, that's entertaining. Cause when someone says make football violent again, I picture, okay, let us do let us make dirty hits with no calls.
Well, they don't even play like that. NFL players don't play like that.
That's how I view it.
I got something to your argument because you were saying like let them be themselves. So if they're being themselves, naturally the game is already violent. Naturally, it's just how it is. So if they're being themselves, it's gonna result in the game being violent anyway. Because you have to already be aggressive to play the sport. When you're playing a sport, you can't come in a sport passive. Like, if you're on defense, you can't be a passive defensive player like, oh, I don't want to hit nobody. I don't want to hurt anyone.
You can't be playing golf?
Well, that's golf. We're talking about football. We're talking about football.
You got to play some good D.
Oh, stop it. We're talking about football. But even if they're being themselves, because the game is already violent and that's the way it was created, it's hard for someone to be like, it's hard for them to just take that beast out of them. Right. If they've been playing the game since they were younger, since they were like 9, 8, and all they've been taught is take that man out the game, light him up, run him over, truck him, put him in the dirt, put his helmet in the ground.
Right. No,
if that's all they've been taught, run them straight to the ground. By the time they get to the NFL,
Marshawn said it best. You remember that?
About
that interview?
What was it?
When he did the interview and the guy was talking to him about how does it feel like when
you hit him in the mouth over and over and over. And that's what they're taught, man. They from playing from a young kid to once they finally get in the NFL and they get on that much bigger stage, they're all of a sudden just told, hey, whoa, relax. Whoa, you can't be hitting people like that. No, don't kill that man. Don't hit that man that hard.
It's the same in the NBA.
Well, that's a different story. That's a whole different story.
I'm just saying, all sports are going to get toned down when you get to the highest level, because when you at the highest level as a grown adult playing, you're capable of so much more than when you were 6 years before you got into the league.
But we all know the NBA has gotten way too soft. That we all know that. That's not even a debate. The NBA has got way too soft compared to what it was like in the 80s and 90s.
Well, even the 2000s. But I would rather have it like how it is.
Oh, no.
Maybe not as bad, but look, man, people used to push people out the air.
It was a man's game.
Man, if I'm going in the air trying to dunk and I got one hand and my other arm is in the air and I get pushed, how am I gonna catch myself when I hit the ground?
Ask Michael Jordan.
Yeah, okay. How many bruises you think he had?
Well, hey, he's 6'6". He did.
Michael Jordan had to wear a helmet playing out there with the Celtics and stuff and the Pistons.
He did it, man. Hey, it was a man's game back then. Now
he was the only one.
Why you think everybody in the NBA is so skinny now? Because they don't have to worry about that.
Everybody ain't skinny.
Just besides LeBron. That's it. And that's why he dominates like he does.
What you mean? That boy Steph Curry got a little buff. Have you seen him on the Snapchat doing his push-ups?
Oh, stop it. If you don't stop it.
Well, Lonzo Ball getting big, too.
Lonzo Ball is as big as SpongeBob. Stop it.
Boy,
Come on now. All right, man. So thank you for coming today, man. I really appreciate talking to you.
No problem. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, no problem at all. So thank you guys for tuning in to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, and my great friend
Brad, baby.
Brad, you are something else. So be sure to find me on Twitter @_Manny3O to follow the latest sports updates as well as the newest episodes of The Run. You guys have a great day today.